you slipped it so it didn't play to your advantage this game? Particularly that goal kicking.
Goal kicking?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a difference in the game in the end. We did everything we wanted to do tonight, exactly the way we wanted to do it, other than put the ball between the two sticks. And in the end, it cost us the game of footy. So we come away extremely frustrated. Quite a painful experience for our group to now sit there and we know exactly what it was that cost us tonight. But as far as experiences go, this is part of the journey we're on. We'll go through that pain now, and we'll be angry and bitter and frustrated, and we'll go away and we'll do the work. Because I sat here in front of you a couple of weeks ago and said that goal kicking wasn't a trend. I've got to eat my words because it's just become one, and we couldn't have done any more work on goal kicking this year. We know it's an area of the game we strongly believe can be improved. I don't know how many thousand shots on goal we've had. We've got a record of it, and we started the year really well in that space, and unfortunately we've let ourselves down the last few weeks. And tonight was, in the end, that was the difference.
So you played it the way you wanted to. What do you think made it so difficult for St Kilda to impose themselves on the game? Because they feel they weren't able to play their game tonight.
Well, that's great. That's what we were after, and we want to do that every week. And then get the other parts right. But look, from our point of view, we took the game where we wanted to take it. I think it was contest initially. I thought we were first to the footy. We tackled hard. It was a really well-balanced game for us. We played. It changed throughout. I think the flow of the game changed. We had our opportunities early and dominated front of centre and weren't able to capitalise. They then took over the second quarter and we held on really well there and fought. Made a couple of probably costly errors in the end. But on the whole, I felt like we had the game on our terms throughout the night. We were just, unfortunately now we regret the misses that we had right throughout. It wasn't towards the end, it was the entire game. And across the board, it wasn't a player getting 5 opportunities and kicking 5 points. It was across the board. Down the other end, to their credit, they did not miss. And so that hurts.
Is there a big contrast, not just because King gets 6 from 6, but he's also taking contested marks, whereas the other end of the park, you don't have that sort of forward who's taking a contested mark regularly?
Tonight, that was the difference tonight. He was pretty big ahead of the ball for him. Made the most of limited opportunities. We had similar stats ahead of the ball, but the contested marking is a big area of the game where they got us tonight. King was influential in that area. We had our chances. I don't think it was all about marks, though, was it? We were getting plenty of shots on goal, and they weren't shots from the boundary. They weren't, ones where we look at an expected score and we stat everything nowadays. I'm pretty sure you'll find where, our score's a lot lower than it should have been.
How do you read the ruck numbers, considering 2 very established ruckmen against a young ruckman? But how are you going to read those numbers? 2 young
ruckmen. We're Riley in the ruck as well tonight. We were pleased with Strawny's game. I mean, around the ground, Strawny ended up with 17 impacts on the game. We thought our midfielders fought it out really well, and that's what we're after. It's the group, not the individual in that area. And so we knew coming in, and I think every side knows coming in when you're Ryder and Marshall as your oppo rucks, it's not going to necessarily be a game you're going to win hit-outs. But what we did was the work on the ground, and I thought Strawn was very good around the ground. I thought our mids played really well, reading off of some of their hits at times. And that was actually a strength of our game tonight. I thought towards the end, I think Paddy had an influence, Ryder, I thought he had an influence towards the end as they got on top. But I thought, I was really pleased with the way Strawny fought tonight.
How glass half full then, or positive were you to the players post-game, given everything that you said went right, but obviously you didn't get the result?
And mindful of, we're all frustrated and angry, and I know our supporters are, and I know they'll be feeling the same way we do at the moment. So I'm mindful of, we feel fantastic. We just lost a game of footy. We're not here to lose. In saying that, I was really positive with our group because we ticked, I'd say, 10 or 12 boxes of things we got right on the night, and we can pinpoint exactly what it was that cost us the game of footy. So we know what to now work on, and we know we're already working on that, and we're already putting the hours in, and we know that'll turn quickly. And sometimes it's contagious. You miss 3 or 4 early, and all of a sudden it becomes the posts seem like they're closer together. We'll get back though. We'll get to work. That's what we'll do at the moment. So we stay positive. We put our heads down and we go to work.
Selection's obviously been a hot topic with some of the guys you've got out of the side. Do you feel like there's some growth or justification for some of the younger guys that you've brought in, given some opportunities to? I guess I'm talking Saligo and Haley in particular.
And again, really pleased with you mentioned Saligo, you mentioned Haley. These guys are getting an opportunity and showing what they've got. This is invaluable for them. This is exactly what you need as a young player, is to play at this level. And this level now is so much higher. The split between this level and SNFL, the speed is huge. So for him, we've been really impressed with Solly. Now he's got a very rounded game. He's continuing to learn, but playing some great footy for us. Jacko, in and around the footy, played his best game last week. Again, this week, solid. So he's building a connection with Lairdy and Ben Keys, Sam Barry in there as well. So there's always going to be questions around selection. There's always players. We can't fit 44 into 22. It doesn't work that way. We'll continue to pick the side on what we believe will get us our best chance to win the game of footy, and that part of that is form. We had Riley O'Brien playing the Samful last night, and even he would say his form wasn't where it needed to be at AFL level. Well, he showed last night that he's going to go back and get some confidence and be knocking on the door again. But it's given an opportunity to Strawn to show what he's got as well.
It's the way forward. If you're happy with the amount of work you're doing on the goal kicking, what makes you confident that you can find your way for the points to turn?
I'll go there again. A trend is not 2 games of footy. Yeah. In saying that, I'm going to acknowledge the fact that we'll come out and do it again next week. Well, then we're starting to see one, aren't we? But we'll continue to work in the areas we're working in. There's so many parts of our game that we continue to be pleased with the way it's developing. Tonight it was pretty much across the board. We brought exactly what it was we wanted to bring and weren't able to put the ball between goalposts. We're really confident that we're playing the right brand of footy. We've got an SNFL team playing some great football, putting pressure on from below. They had a fantastic win last night, and this is a team that 12 months ago would have struggled in a game like they played last night against a very good Eagles side. So that's really pleasing as well that we've got that depth in our squad. And we'll continue to select the team around who we believe is going to take us forward and who's going to give us the best opportunity to win on the weekend.
Could you do some more height down back, do you think?
We're obviously going to go there because we went in and took a little bit of a risk there, but we were really pleased with the way they defended as a team, as a group. We structurally set up. We had a number of things in place if we felt that was getting away from us, but I think towards the end of the game it might be looked at. The last 2 that went in were contested marks. It wasn't the way the game played out. We were really pleased. Tommy Duday's in some pretty rare form, playing some great footy. And Nick Murray, I thought, was really strong tonight, even though we played on a superstar of the game. Sometimes you clap your hands at some of these young guys coming through, and King is an outstanding footballer. Made the most of his limited opportunity.
I think what's the difference of Jackson Haley last year to the one of this year?
What time? Time's one, and opportunity. I think he's also got his body right. I mean, Jacko last year was working his way through some real soreness. He had some groin issues last year, which can really slow you down. We know anyone with any issues around the groin, it really takes that speed and that power out of your game. So, to his credit, he did a lot of work in the off season and has now been given the opportunity, and that's really good to see for Jacko. We knew he was a very, very good footballer. He was drafted early. He showed a lot of talent, a lot of really strong parts to his game up at the Giants. So he's now getting some reward for that effort, and he's an ultimate professional as well, which is part of the reason he's here.
Sorry, Josh Rochelle subbed out late. What's the early diagnosis?
Yeah, it was a pretty bad corky, which, we'll have a pretty close look with Josh because these young guys coming in now, they've played limited footy the last couple of years as well. with COVID and so on. So we're going to be mindful of we're always mindful with first year players, and getting through 22 games in a season is pretty tough for any first year. But with him, we'll really assess this one and have a good look, because at some point we were going to look to manage guys like Josh, even Saligo's another one that we'll keep a close eye on. He has played a little bit back and forth and had a role in the sub as well, but Josh has played pretty much straight through.
How much of a balancing act is it with Dawson? He obviously played behind the ball for large chunks of the game, and then when they hit the front, pushing him forward. What's that like, I guess, in terms of having someone so useful everywhere, knowing placing when the game's on the line?
Well, it's handy for us. I mean, we put him where we feel he's going to impact the game. We had him up around the ball for a fair part of the matchup. We started the game on a wing and got himself in around the footy, and he's an influential player on games. He finds ways to impact a game. At times, we look at sending a message down and he's already playing it out. So he's an extremely intelligent footballer, and we'd like him around the footy. So at times towards the end there, when we're behind, we want to impact. We want him to impact. We get him ahead of the footy, and when we're in front, we'd like to think he's somewhere where he might be able to help us defend as well. But no, he had another strong game and impacted the game well.
When you were playing and you knew there was going to be dew on the grass, what did you do with your boots?
I thought that question might come.
There you are, it's there.
I had a pair of mouldeds and a pair of screw-ins, and the rules have changed slightly. You can't wear certain screw-ins nowadays. So I'm mindful of how I attack this one, but I still have a little bit of old school in me. And they don't make too many boots anymore that have the big long studs in them. Most ovals are different to what they were back then as well. They're not quite as muddy and slippery. But you saying they slipped over a bit tonight?
Bit.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.